Hello everyone. You're listening to a podcast, A Cultural Shock in America, a Central Asian Perspective. My name is Tamir. I'm a master's student at Ohio University and I come from the Kyrgyz Republic. Our guest today is Kamila Turganova, a PhD student from Kazakhstan.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Tamir. My name is Kamila. I'm from Kazakhstan. I came here 4 years ago to study PhD in chemical engineering, and I work as a research assistant in the corrosion lab.
That sounds great. Chemistry. Do you like your study?
Yes. Okay, yes, sometimes I love it. When everything goes very well, I love it. When I'm struggling with something, I hate everything. I want to quit, but I think it's normal.
That's totally fine. But I can't imagine the hardships that may face as PhD students in chemistry and chemical engineering. That sounds really cool and like super science to me.
It's definitely something different when you compare it to, say, bachelor. I never did master's. I did the bachelor's in chemical engineering. It was totally different compared to PhD. Because as a PhD student, you are more independent and you feel like you do something more important to someone else compared to when you do just the studies for yourself only.
Yeah, gotcha. Yes. And on top of that, I think being a student, being an international student and coming from Central Asia, from Kazakhstan, doing PhD, that's like, wow, that's like a lot of things for me. And I'm really glad that you agreed to come and share your story regarding shocks, surprises, and encounters in America. So my question would be, when did you come to America? When did you arrive? And how's that happened?
It wasn't super easy because we needed to take several flights to get here. I would love to have a direct flight from my hometown to Athens, Ohio, eventually. But no, there is no even airport in Athens. Initially, I needed to take a trip from my hometown to a big city in Kazakhstan, which is Almaty. And from Almaty, I needed to fly to Dubai. It was a direct flight to Dubai, about, I think, 5-6 hours. And then from Dubai, I needed to take a bus to Abu Dhabi. We needed to do the immigration in Abu Dhabi. So they have US immigration in Abu Dhabi, and I didn't know about that. And the funny thing was that I landed in New York, and we came to the domestic flight, and was like, oh, here, you can take your baggages. And I'm like, no, I need to go through passport control. And I came with my friend, and she's like, no, it's fine. And I'm like, no, they didn't check us. What if we're illegals? But yeah, I didn't know that apparently the immigration was already in Abu Dhabi.
Wow, that's really interesting and new information for me. I didn't know that because my journey was apparently super long as well. It took like 4 days and I had to travel from my city, which is called Bishkek, to Istanbul, Frankfurt, Chicago, Kansas. Then I spent like 3 weeks in there for pre-academic program. Then I flew back to Chicago, then Chicago to Columbus, and from Columbus to Athens by bus. So it took like 4 days. I even won an award last year. The Center for International Studies, they played a game called How Long Did Your Journey Take to the US? I'm like 4 days. And I won that. So I definitely can relate to your experience. So what did you surprise you the most when you just arrived in the US, in New York or in Athens?
So I can think about good things and not very pleasant things.
Okay.
I think one of the good things I liked about the US when I came here is how friendly people are. So for example, you don't know anything or you're confused, you can go to someone and ask them and there will be, oh yes, sure, how you doing? How was your day? Something. Even in the immigration, they ask you questions like, how are you? I know now that they don't care about how you are now. I'm like, oh, I'm doing great. Thank you, sir. How about you? How's your day?
That's fun.
Yeah. And just in general, people here are friendly and very nice and very kind. And the small talks, like, for example, on the street while you're waiting for something, it's so nice and so common here at the supermarket. In my country, it's not so common, so I needed to a little bit adjust to it.
I also come from Kyrgyzstan, my country. Service sector is not really kind. if you expect good service, you gotta go to like good restaurants, good
Mhm.
cafes, and good like malls, right? And that is also like one thing which really like surprised me in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. In Kazakhstan, for example, if you say hi to a cashier, she will look strange at you. Okay.
That's true. That's true.
So another thing I want to mention that drew my attention is the amount of advertisement that they have everywhere on different things. They have a lot of advertisements of food, of lawyers. For example, when you even watch YouTube, there is advertisement every 5 minutes, and there are two of them, and you can skip them only after 30 minutes.
I'm really grateful that YouTube doesn't pay much attention to my country, and we don't really have this YouTube advertisements, which is bad for like local entrepreneurs and bloggers. But for the whole audience, you have to listen it until it's and then second advertisement starts, and like you can skip that, and then your song continues. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of time. Yeah.
And it can become even scary. For example, you discuss something with your friend, and then you go to Instagram and you already see this ad.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you just think about, because they have this kind of algorithm that like watches your eye movement, and sometimes you think, do they know what I think about? Because you didn't talk to someone and you already have this advertisement.
I bet this is called surveillance capitalism. That means that tech giants like Meta, Amazon, or other like tech giants based in the US, they constantly watch and observe users, us, little bugs, and they follow our taste in music, food, and stuff, and then they suggest their products. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, sometimes I'm glad that it's not so targeted in my home country.
That's true. I agree.
Another thing I can think about what drew my attention was how independent students are. For example, once they go into the bachelor's degree, they already by themselves. They have their own cars. They do whatever they want. They choose their degree however they want.
So you did your bachelor in Kazakhstan and you started doing a PhD in here. So what kind of differences did you notice?
So there are a couple of differences in academic and social or cultural life separately. In terms of academic differences, I can say, as I said, people here are more independent, and I guess maybe it comes from their upbringing from the childhood. For example, in Kazakhstan, when I was in the middle school, high school, and even in university, a lot of the subjects were lecture based. And for example, there was one particular solution that you need to follow, or there is this particular exercise that you need to follow these particular steps. Here, you have a room for creativity.
I also noticed that here academic freedom is a big thing. So I was really surprised that when I learned that professors, they create their own syllabuses and they own this syllabus, and they do not necessarily have to like approve it or like show it to their bosses of departments, and they can literally like teach in a way that they want. So university relies fully on professors and gives them agency and freedom to teach what they want. When I spoke of this to my friends in my country, they're like, okay, but how do you ensure that they are doing a good job? I'm like, yeah, students are the tool. We evaluate our professors in the end of semester, every semester. And recently, one guy from Moldova, he's like, wow, in my country, that wouldn't be possible to imagine even. I mean, the same in my country. Some like progressive universities, they're introducing this evaluation system, but not all of them. So yeah, that's another thing which really surprised me in a good way.
Yeah, here the evaluation or opinion of students actually matter.
Yeah, it does, and that's amazing. That's great. So coming to my next question, what do you think in socio-cultural life in American Athens, maybe in Ohio, maybe in other states, gravely differ from Kazakhstan?
What I noticed here and I like here is that how many different various activities they have in university. So, for example, they have orientation week, and orientation week is supposedly for new arriving students, but at the same time, they put a lot of different activities. Like at the gym, they have different food servings, different games, and all those kinds of activities that other people can join too. And those I found super cool.
Yeah, I think social life, especially at campus towns, it's really rich. What I noticed. I mean, last year when I just arrived, I was really like, I was disoriented because of too many events and a lot of free pizza. And at some point, my friend like, okay, don't get fat in America eating pizza. I'm like, I mean, that's free pizza.
Free food doesn't count 2 calories.
That's true. That's true. That's a good saying, actually. And yeah, talking about food, I think food is really important part of like each country and context, right? How do you find American food? How do you like it?
What I noticed here in the supermarkets, there is a division for organic food and non-organic food, which was kind of surprising for me because I'm like, oh, what is organic food? And they're like, oh, they don't put different pesticides and different bad stuff in it. Okay, so what about non-organic?
Which I've been eating for the last 1 year.
Yeah.
I only recently learned that bananas can be organic and non-organic. I had the same question.
I think in terms of bananas, I don't care so much because we don't eat the peel itself.
Yeah.
But okay, now I'm a poor student.
Okay.
When I'm rich. I think it's important to think about it. So if you eat something, it's better be organic. Like, for example, if you eat the shell or the salad leaf, you eat the whole thing itself, right? And like they spray on the outside. So for me, I would prefer to eat that rather than something like, for example, with banana, I don't care, as I said.
Okay.
Because we just peel, like they spray it outside, we peel the...
They spray what? Pesticides?
Yeah.
Oh my God, do they spray bananas with pesticides?
This I don't know how it works. Or sometimes what I noticed, remember when we were cooking plov for a street fair, we bought non-organic carrots.
Carrots, yeah.
And they were tasteless.
They had a taste, but they had a really bad taste. And they spoiled the whole food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I kind of get that question. I think my observation is that as long as you like keep buying organic foods, if you can afford them, of course, because they're like way more expensive, right? And you cook at home, I think you can be able to eat healthy food and and be just okay. But pizza and street food, I think I had fun with them. When I just arrived, I didn't want to cook. I didn't know how to get my grocery. That's one lesson that I learned, that you need to look for places, supermarkets, which are specific to your region or to your country.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that is different a little bit here, for example, the fast food is actually a cheap and available food.
That's true.
Compared to us, we go to fast food maybe, I don't know, once or twice a month, where whoa, salary, we can afford fast food.
That's true. Yeah, the KFC in my city is actually called KFC restaurant. Do you know that?
KFC restaurant? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's more expensive than local food and local cafeterias. And people, when they get their salaries and when they get money, they're like, okay, you want to go and eat KFC?
It's a treat for kids.
Yeah, and here it's different. I think in context of America, we can talk a lot more about food, but I'd like to move further on my next question, which is about navigating these differences in food, in academic life, in social life, and so on. So what can you advise for incoming international students?
Yeah, for me, initially, I found a lot of differences and cultural shocks, and like, oh, I don't like this, so this is not like at home. But then I remember, I came here, I chose to be here, I chose to go and seek for better life and for better education. So maybe sometimes it's better not to like resist those differences and try to adapt. to those that kind of things. Sometimes it's going to be hard and it will take time, but people do that. And so probably the advice is maybe be okay with it, be proactive. If you don't know something or if you struggle with something, seek for help or ask questions.
I've been doing the same. I'm like, okay, hamburger is different, food is different. This food is too salty, this food is too oily, this food is like overfried and stuff. And then I also read about it, how to adapt in a different culture, different setting. The first advice was that you should stop comparing your country and your host country. And you are totally right in just saying that this was our choice to come here, right? Following different goals, in our case, following academic goals. And if they are giving you hamburger without veggies, you can add some veggies yourself, right? So that's really important point.
Make it a little less bad.
Yeah. I agree.
Counseling service, I think it's important if you're struggling. So don't think it's something bad, especially like in a lot of probably Asian countries. It's something like, oh, do you need help? Are you like a psychopath or something? I think it's important to, like, a lot of people struggle and they keep it to themselves, and then it becomes even worse.
In my country as well, probably not in the cities, but in villages. If you say that you are going to see a psychologist, they're like, okay, then you are psycho. You must be psycho if you're going to a psychologist. Especially when it comes to men, like, you're a man. How come you need someone to hear your complaints? Right. You should be strong and you should keep it to yourself, and it should be a wall, it should be a support for your family and everyone else and for the country. So I also appreciate that here mental health topic is really valued, and students are constantly encouraged to use university services. That's another thing which I want to highlight, that university experience, campus experience actually gives students a lot of opportunities which are already included in the tuition and for which you don't have to pay money. Culture shock is defined by Oxford Dictionary in a following way: the feeling of disorientation experienced by someone who is suddenly subjected to an unfamiliar culture, way of life, or set of attitudes. Culture shock can lead to a flurry of emotions, including excitement, anxiety, confusion, and uncertainty. There are obvious examples of culture shock, such as getting used to a different language, a different climate, a different transport system, and a different food customs. Less obvious examples of culture shock include acclimatizing to different hand gestures, different facial expressions, and levels of eye contact. In your opinion, what would really surprise Americans when they visit Kazakhstan?
That's a good question. I think we have a really good mix of modern and traditional in Kazakhstan. It's a big country at first. It's like one of the
biggest countries.
Yes, yeah. Right. It's 9th biggest countries. And so a lot of the big cities, they are spread around. They're really developed. Like probably in Kyrgyzstan, the same. You can get the driver license in the same date. Like, for example, here, when I was getting my driver license, I passed the test and stuff. I needed to schedule a test 2 weeks before. Then I go there, I pass the test, and they're like, okay, good job. Your driver license will arrive to your mail in 2 weeks. And I'm like, wow, 2 weeks. Because in Kazakhstan, they do it at the same day. Like, you can just walk in there, pass the test, and like, here's your driver license with your picture, with your information and everything. The same with the bank card. I can go to bank. I don't even have to go to bank. There is just like those ATMs where you can print the card.
Wow, yeah.
Here, you need to apply for it. They need to review. They ask for your SSN, and then they mail it to you in 2 business weeks.
Yeah. In my country, they do not mail anything.
Yeah, for us, they don't use mails anymore, I think.
I've seen in movies that postmen would deliver mails, and like people in the morning drinking coffee, coming out of their houses and like checking their mailbox, and like I thought that was in the movies. And I must comment that mail delivery system is really well developed in here. So everything's done via mail, right? Bank accounts, document, driver license. All communication with authorities is done by mail.
Yeah, this is something I needed to adjust for initially. But now, once I know how the mail works, Amazon 2 days, so nice.
Yeah, that's very convenient if you get used to it. Even the Walmart, I'm using Walmart delivery right now. That's so convenient. And this comes to my next point, which I want to like quickly make: transportation. What do you think about transport in America?
So I studied my bachelor's in a big city. I grew up in kind of the city where public transportation was very developed. Then I moved to Astana to study and lived there for 5-6 years. And the public transportation there was even better. Like we have buses going 24/7, going anywhere you want. Here, when I arrived here, because the Athens is such a small city, and I arrived right after COVID, it was 2021 summer. No buses, no anything. And I understand it's a small town, so it was okay initially going to the lab and then to orientation, even though it was August, so it was raining like crazy, but it's okay. But then going, like, for example, we have nothing, like no pillows, no anything. So we needed to go to Walmart to buy all the stuff, and we don't have a car to go there.
Yeah.
And Walmart is disconnected from us through highway.
Yeah.
Eventually, our friend helped us a lot, which is my husband now.
Okay. Yeah, that's a story for another podcast.
I didn't marry for that, of course. So if you live in the United States, I feel like, especially in smallish towns, not big cities like Chicago or New York or Boston, you kind of almost have to have a car to go around. And also Athens is a small town, but if you want to go for like a lot of fun stuff, you need to go to Columbus, and for that you need a car too.
That's true. Go bus at 6 a.m. in the morning is really difficult for me.
Yeah, especially if you have a flight that is late. Then you somehow need to reach Athens, and Go bus stops working at 3, I think.
Yeah. That's how I came, actually. My flight to Columbus landed at like 2:30, and I had to run within this 15 minutes to catch my bus. Otherwise, I would have spent my night in Columbus, first day in Ohio. And now, after spending 1 year in here, I think that you are no human in Athens or in other like smaller college towns in the Midwest if you don't have a car. And I also don't get why Walmart and all these shopping malls have to be so far from uptown and from like living area. I struggled with that a lot, and I'm still struggling. I still haven't bought a car. I still haven't found a friend.
Yeah, another thing is, like, for example, Walmart, as you mentioned, it is so far, and there are not so many local shops where you can say, oh, I'm missing milk, I can just go there. Like, for example, okay, there is one shop that closes at 6 or 7, but it's like so far from us, for example. It's just one small shop in the whole Athens.
Yeah, that's true. I live next to Siemens. It's a local grocery store. It closes at 7, like no matter what day is it. And it took a planning for me, I guess. So I know that if I'm running late, if I'm going back at 6, I'm not gonna make it to Siemens, and I have to eat whatever I have it in my fridge, or I have to order and delivery, which is gonna be expensive. So yeah, that's another point I want to make, that I think here you have to plan more, I guess, related to everything, including getting documentation, doing grocery.
Oh, yeah, there is another point I want to mention about that.
Yeah, sure.
So I mentioned how like modern some of the cities are, especially compared to, I don't know, some small towns in the US, but also at the same time, Kazakhstan can be very traditional. Because, like, for example, as I mentioned, 2 cities, they are very spread from each other, but in between we have those small villages, and they are very traditional. There is no big buildings, there is no banks, sometimes no even water. So yeah, you kind of can have mix of two when you travel to Kazakhstan. And another thing I think is nice is some of the national parks in Kazakhstan. Yeah, so like for example, if you're a foreigner traveling to Kazakhstan, make sure not only visit those like Almaty, Astana, big cities, but also go to some other places. For example, near Almaty we have Charin Canyon. Then we have
Bawa.
right, yeah. Mountains are nice. We have Caspian Sea, a lot of different things. Oh, probably in terms of food, be prepared for the fact that we eat a lot of meat.
Yeah.
Like especially we like horse meat and beef and all different kinds of styles. Another thing I would say, we have a really big temperature differences. For example, if you go in summer, it's really hot. If you go in winter, it's really cold, minus 40 degrees C. And because there is like a plain, especially if you not go to like southern cities like Almaty was mountains, but if you go to the plain, like north to central Kazakhstan, it's flat. So it's super windy. We have a joke actually, these people who come from south and they always complain how cold it is in winter. And we're like, of course you came with the light winter jacket. Light winter jacket is for summer.
I think Astana can be a local Chicago. Yeah. We talked about cultural differences, food differences, and how you managed, how you're navigating these differences. So do you have anything additional extra to add on top of that conversation?
Yeah, actually, one of the advices I forgot to mention for international students, I think what helped me a lot, and I know probably you too and my friends, it's nice to experience American culture. Of course, you're already here, you're immersed into this kind of environment. But at the same time, what helped me a lot, especially with feeling homesickness, is finding people from your region. And you can share a lot of the stuff from a lot of your culture too. Like introduce your culture to other people. I think they're also interested in that. And you are also interested probably learning about other cultures. And that's another thing that is nice about studying in a university that is so international, because you're exposed to so many different things. So yeah, I like just the fact that we can go and explore like different musics, different festivals, different food.
So eventually American experience is not only American, but it's very international,
Yes.
right? Yeah. I mean, Ohio University has like big, I think, international community and presence in here. And for me, for a Kyrgyz guy coming from Kyrgyzstan, it was really important to meet someone from my country or from neighboring countries like Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and I'm really glad that I met you guys at this international parade, locating you by your flag. So that's fun. So by saying that, I would like to say thank you, Camila, for coming here, spending your time, sharing your experience, and giving some advice to incoming international students, and also giving this Central Asian perspective on American socio-cultural life.
Thank you, Timur, for inviting.
Thank you for coming. You listen to a podcast, A Cultural Shock in America, a Central Asian perspective. Stay tuned for our next episode, A Cultural Shock in America, a love story, where we will explore Ecuadorian and American experience of building a romantic relationship. Take care.